This afternoon, I also have the pleasure and distinct honor of recognizing Julie Payette, an accomplished and celebrated individual who's receiving an honorary doctorate from BCIT. We're also privileged to have her as our keynote speaker this afternoon, as you'll soon find out. The Honorary Doctorate of Technology is awarded to individuals who are widely recognized for their outstanding, sustained achievements in their areas of expertise and endeavor. Julie Payette certainly fits that bill. Julie is recognized in Canada and internationally as an inspirational role model in the world of science. She began her career as a systems engineer at IBM Canada before joining the NASA Astronaut Corps in Houston in 1996. While training as an astronaut, she completed a military pilot course, and she also has a commercial pilot's license. Julie has participated in 2 space missions to the International Space Station, aboard the shuttles Discovery in 1999 and Endeavour in 2009, serving as an engineer and manager of robotic operations. During those missions, she logged some 1,611 hours in space and made more than 400 circuits around the Earth. Pretty impressive. Having served as chief astronaut for the Canadian Space Agency from 2000 to 2007, she became a public policy scholar at the prestigious Woodrow Wilson International Center in Washington, D.C. in 2011, in addition to being Quebec's science delegate to the United States. In 2013, she was named Chief Operating Officer of the Montreal Science Centre and MSc Vice President of Canada Lands Company. That same year, she was inaugurated into the Academy of Great Montrealers for helping restore science to a place of paramount importance in Quebec society. Julie also sits on several prestigious boards of directors and has been a director of the National Bank of Canada since 2014. Julie Payette has received numerous honors, including Knight of the Order National of Quebec and Officer of the Order of Canada. An inspirational individual, Julie Payette's incredible determination, curiosity, and passion for discovery reflect the principal values of BCIT. It is with great pleasure that I bestow the Honorary Doctorate of Technology from the British Columbia Institute of Technology on Julie Payette.
Now, Adam and Kathy will now invest Julie with the hood and present her with the degree certificate. This signifies the conferring of the degree of Honorary Doctor of Technology to Julie Payette.
Mesdames et messieurs, ladies and gentlemen, Gaspadini, Gaspada, I'm going to stop there. I cannot tell you how touched I am and how impressed I am to be here in your presence today and with the privilege of addressing this great graduating class and the folks that support it. I salute you all, parents, loved ones, faculty, professors, administration. Thank you for having me. I am immensely grateful. I'd like to quote someone you may have heard of, John F. Kennedy, who said, "We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they're easy, but because they're hard. Because that will serve to organize and measure the best of our abilities and our skills. And because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, that we are unwilling to postpone, and that we intend to win." When John F. Kennedy delivered that very famous moon speech in 1961, I wasn't born yet. But I was alive and kicking 10 years later when people did walk on the moon in the early 1970s, sitting in the gym of my primary school, watching the Apollo astronauts put on their spacesuit and then walk to the rocket and then get in it and then go to space and then land on the moon and oh, Lord, drive that lunar Jeep. I have a Jeep now today in my driveway. And then they would come back in small, tiny capsules. The parachute would open, and there would be a splash down in the ocean. I so wanted to be that person. Even though 1970, I'm growing up in a small, modest suburb of Montreal, Canada. It had escaped me at the moment it happened that maybe I had little in common with those folks that were walking on the moon. Actually, nothing in common. They were American, I was Canadian. At the time, there was no such thing as Marc Garneau or a Canadian astronaut, period. We weren't there yet. Those guys were guys, men. I was a girl, 10 years old. Those folks spoke English, which when I was 10 years old growing up in Montreal sounded like a blur to me. My parents actually would speak each other in English so the children would not understand. And at that time, they were all fearless pilots, and no one in my family had ever been near an airplane, me included. So why? I was inspired. I was hooked. The spark came in. I wanted to do that. And because you're sitting in front of me right now, probably clenching your robe, wondering where your family, if they're well seated and they're going to be able to watch everything that's going to happen, probably thinking, wow, finally this has happened. I hope she doesn't speak too long so I can go celebrate. Because you're sitting in front of me right now tells me that you were inspired somewhere, somehow along the way in the past to do something. And guess what? You did it. You set out a goal, you worked hard at it, and you achieved it. And you never know when that spark will lit. But one thing is sure, it is a bit of our duty to pick it up when it passes, because that's part of our contribution. When this ceremony is over, of course, you deserve so much to have a really solid party. So go on, have fun, celebrate. Thank the people, the folks that helped you along the way. Drink responsibly, of course, all these good things. And then make sure that you also have plans for the future and reform the world. But when you do wake up tomorrow morning, when the dust settles in a couple weeks, then I hope you do get to work. Because being part of a graduating class, having achieved such an amazing goal of getting a degree, comes with responsibility. Yes, indeed, privilege comes with responsibility. You've given yourself an enormous gift, that of an education. Maybe, perhaps, looking at some of you, a second chance, a third chance, a new beginning. That gift, it is now your responsibility to put it to use, to good use. And it would be a shame not to. You should, when you wake up from all this excitement, do the other things, not because they're easy, but because they are hard. Because you've demonstrated that you can do what you need to do, when it counts. You've shown that you can do it, and now you have to continue on that role. Effort pays, doesn't it? Spread the word. And if you can call my 12-year-old, effort pays. Also because you've taken a challenge, and I'm sure you've taken many. I do not know your story. I do not know your background. I don't know your strength. I don't know your traits. I wish I knew who you were and what is your story, what language you spoke at home, if you were born in this country or somewhere else. But what I do know is that you are capable of delivering on that challenge. And that, again, is your responsibility to continue to deliver. And you have the responsibility also because you are part of the future of this country, collectively and individually. We are from a glorious land, free, prosperous, We are so lucky to live in Canada, and it is our duty to continue to contribute to that society and outside, and to share. So be a conscious citizen. Have an opinion. Have a vision. And then have a mission of your own. Don't be afraid ever to speak your mind, and don't take no for an answer, if possible. But simply, you have to go on what you've started, simply because this is the beginning. And at the beginning, so much is yet to be accomplished. If we go back to Montreal in the early 70s, when I had the pretense of thinking that I would be able to go and play in the major league of space exploration, I had no credentials. It was completely ridiculous. No one thought I could make it. No one around me thought I could make it. I could. I didn't think I could make it. But hey, you never know. If you have a chance to apply to something you really want, if you have a chance to do something you really want, try. Because if you don't, unfortunately, statistically, 100% chance of not doing it. And dare to dream. Dream big, dream high. Because, and don't tell anybody on this one, though you can trust me, the sky is not the limit. Go for it. Live long and prosper.